Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to your favorite show, WGO. You know what's going on?
Healthy brain activity, baby. Shout out to us, BoobTube episode. We're going to start bringing that back. Start throwing it out here in the very beginning. It's a nice little piece of the intro, I think.
A little workout for your brain, hopefully.
There we go. We're
So
getting
how
you
you
to
feeling?
work out.
How are you feeling right now?
A little scared, petrified, and afraid.
Oh, I'm feeling a little sick.
Uh-oh.
A little motion sick.
Oh! The dad jokes are on point within the first fucking 60 seconds, my guy.
Exactly. We're on fire right now.
Boom.
But that is the topic for this episode, mainly stemming out of my constant feeling of motion sickness in
And nausea.
random situations.
It's so strange. Another reason why we wanted to talk about this, I have never really gotten motion sickness. I swear to God, I'm sure there's probably some instance where I have gotten motion sick, but it's so infrequent that I couldn't even think of a specific time. But you, on the other hand, would you give us give us some examples, scenarios where you would or have been motion sick?
A lot of times, obviously, like carnival rides or something, that'll get you, but that gets a lot of people. Another big one is watching somebody play video games. I can usually play them myself pretty well, but if someone starts spinning the camera too much, I'm gone.
That's absurd. I don't understand. Have you ever gotten it while you were the one playing?
I did on one shooter game on the Wii. I had to take breaks every 40 minutes because I was about to throw up every time.
It's so weird. I don't understand. That blows my mind. That's
And
so
then I
funny.
noticed if I'm dehydrated and I'm getting a little hot, then sometimes I get it too.
Okay. I think everything is just heightened. When you're dehydrated, you feel like absolute fucking garbage. At least I personally do. That's why I drink at least a gallon of water. If you don't do that, I would highly recommend starting.
Way too aggressive.
That's what's recommended is a gallon a day. I'm
Who
fairly positive.
recommends that?
I
We
don't know.
have to do an episode on that because I don't believe it. You're watching too
Let's do
much
it.
fitness influencers.
Maybe. I don't know. We're also 70% water? 75? 80? 90?
So that doesn't
I-
mean you need the 70% or
Yeah,
whatever.
You do. Yeah, you do. Also, how did we know that? That's another question I had. We'll do that on that episode that we're recording. But how the fuck did we find out we're 70% water? What does that mean?
I'm sure it's like an MRI or some sort of machine like that.
I guess, but what the fuck? It blows my balls. We'll do a water episode. H2O. You know what's going on. We're drinking it. Guzzling. Gallon a day is what it is, babe. So dehydration makes you a little more motion sick. Is there anything else? Car
I'm
rides,
trying to-
right?
When I was a kid, car rides would get me really bad. But for the most part, not really. The taking off and landing of an airplane usually gets me a little bit too.
Really?
And then if I throw in dehydration with that, then I'm
Then I'm
on the
throwing up.
edge of throwing up.
No way. That's
I've had one where I almost thought I was going to throw up, but
I've had one
I made it.
airplane ride where I felt like I was almost going to throw up. I found out fairly recently. Did you know there's a thing called airplane gut or flight gut?
oh,
or
you
something
were
like
telling me
that?
about it, but I did not know about it before your experience. No.
Yeah, so I don't get motion sick per se, but what happens is I get stomach cramps really bad sometimes, and I don't know why. Sometimes it happens. I think maybe when I eat more recent to a flight. And it's something like going up in the higher altitude causes air molecules to expand, and it can put a lot of pressure onto your stomach. So the next time you fly, I want you to pay attention if you're a little bit more gassy, because apparently that's super common. And then coming right back down to the other altitude, whenever you land, can kind of cause some stomach issues per se. And a couple of times ago, I've been on a couple of flights since then, and thankfully,
Has that
knock on
happened
wood.
multiple times for you or just the one?
I've had it twice now. But the last time I was, oh my God, I felt like death. It was so much pressure and so uncomfortable that I spent the second half of my flight literally just rubbing my stomach because that was
I
the
bet
only
your
sort of
neighbors
relief.
love that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a late flight, so everyone was kind of sleeping or watching something, and I'm over here trying to watch
Just
Netflix
rubbing
while just
yourself.
fucking double-handed in my tummy, trying to not bomb all over the place. I did go up and go to the bathroom a couple of times and expel a shit ton of gas, so that was super nice, but is what it
Nice.
is. Yeah.
So being gassy or flying is your weakness?
Yeah. I'm a gaseous male in the air. What can I say? But no, motion sickness, that doesn't get me. I'm A-okay on that. So what do you think causes it?
I've heard that it's when your brain kind of notices that you're not really moving,
Yeah.
but your vision is kind of moving. You're seeing things seem like you should be moving, but
Yeah.
you're not actually. And then your brain kind of freaks out and thinks you might be poisoned or something. So I think that's kind of the
Whoa.
natural response is to vomit.
That's pretty interesting. I like that. I know for specific dizziness, I'm pretty sure there's a piece of your ear that has some sort of water level that's inside of it. And so I know when you're spinning around a whole lot, like carnival rides or just, I guess, a fun Tuesday evening at a park, you can get pretty dizzy because that water level kind of like flops all over the place. And usually if it's pretty stagnant to be able to, help you with equilibrium and balance. And if that gets kind of sloshed around, I'm pretty sure that's another reason why you get super dizzy.
So I need to strengthen up my ear water or something?
That's why I gotta get that.
That?
That's why I got to get that gallon a day in there. That way,
Oh.
when you're, that way
Then
it's
it's
high.
full.
Yeah,
and
you can't slosh.
around.
Yeah, you got it.
Wow. Okay.
That's why I actually don't even drink through my mouth anymore. I just pour it straight in my ear hole, and I keep my head tilted to the side. That way, it eventually goes down. So,
You don't just like inject it straight through your eardrum?
Oh God. You know what? I'm gonna go get some syringes right now. We'll start doing that. I'll let you know how it goes. And,
Okay.
Well, I'll probably induce myself, and then I'll start getting motion sick in everyday life. Then I'll be on
There
the
you go.
opposite end. I'll
See how
join
it
you.
feels.
I'm sure it'll feel great. But yeah, if you get motion sick and you're listening on Spotify, there's this new thing that came out. Go to the actual Spotify episode. We'll create a little answer questionnaire thing. And if you get motion sickness, let us know. If you have any good stories, you can type it in there, and we'll do a little recap episode. That'll be a good time. See, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'm pretty sure motion sickness comes from. It's like a brain reaction to seeing a bunch of motion with your body not moving. And I wonder if it is paired up with that like ear water level. If it's like expecting
definitely could be.
signals from that one piece of your ear, and since it's not like moving and staying still, maybe that panics it and time to vomit, I guess.
My dad's had a couple episodes of, I think it's called vertigo or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that is something to do with your inner ear. And basically that does just make you dizzy and motion sick, even though you're just sitting in one place not doing anything.
That's so strange. That blows my mind. I wonder if people just constantly live like that. Do you think like the super bad cases of vertigo, you just constantly feel dizzy and off balance? I don't. What's the symptoms of that? Just like feeling uneasy and like you can't really find your balance, or?
I don't know. I think it's kind of like feeling nauseous and not really on balance. I don't know.
That's so weird.
That's kind of what I remember from it. It was a while ago.
All right. We'll have to look into that. Questions. All right. Motion sickness. Shall we dive in?
I'm ready to vertigo.
There you go. I'm about to dive in. By the way, we couldn't figure out who that was. We both were wrong. It was Trey Songz. I did some digging.
Oh, of course.
Back a couple episodes ago. Oh, I didn't even think about ways you could try to prevent or treat it. I mean, treat I understand, but preventing. I hope it's the inject water in your ear.
No, I know there's medication you can take for that.
Oh.
I think it's called Dramamine.
Oh my God! Yeah, holy balls. We were gonna talk about that as well. Like getting seasick and stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. I think
totally
it's pretty much
forgot
the
about
same
that.
thing.
Yeah. I would assume. Yeah, it looks like I was kind of right about the role of the ears. The network that we were talking about is called the vestibular system, and inside that system is 3 pairs of semicircular canals and 2 sacs. The sacs are called the saccule and the utricle, and basically the water or the fluid. I don't even know if it's water. It just says fluid. The fluid that's inside of those canals kind of like shift around when you move or turn your head, and where the like levels of that fluid is kind of tells your brain like gravity pretty much. So if you're like standing up or lying down, and then your brain takes in all this data, and usually compared to what you're doing, it makes sense. But then there's sometimes that your brain can confuse the signals, and the result is just motion sickness.
Is that why you can get lightheaded just from standing up sometimes? You've been laying down for a while?
I think,
Or is that
probably
different?
the immediate. Well, there's multiple reasons why. I'm pretty sure. One that I've heard is that your iron count. So if you don't eat that much red meat, the constant like motion, like standing up. I don't know why that's a thing. We could look into that as well. Standing up is kind of a lot for your body, and sometimes you get those. I don't know how to describe it. Those spots in your eyes when you stand up.
Sometimes I just like can't see when I stand up for a little bit. It's like, holy shit.
What? Really? That's
you
so
don't
scary.
have that?
No, I don't think
I
I've ever
swear
just like
I asked my
blacked out.
doctor about this, and he said it was normal.
Really?
That was a long time ago, but
I'm gonna Google why can't I see when I stand up.
are we gonna diagnose me right now and find out that I'm just dying?
Yeah, there's something wrong. Oh, interesting. So it says when you get out of bed or stand up, the blood vessels in your body need to clamp down rapidly to maintain blood pressure going to the brain. If you stand up too quickly, the blood pressure can drop so suddenly that it causes dizziness, lightheadedness, or fuzzy vision. I wonder. Well, I don't know why I heard the iron thing though. I wonder if maybe that helps the clamping. Maybe it just clamps faster, or if that's a rumor.
So I need some faster clamps.
Yeah, you got
Is
to
that
work
what's
on
going on?
that clamp game. You should just lay down and stand up repeatedly, really quickly, like 30
Those
times
are my
a day.
reps of
Yeah.
exercises. What are you doing?
I'm clamping. Goodness gracious. That's pretty interesting. So I'm looking at the examples we were talking about with dizziness, and on a flying plane, it was an example because you're moving, but your eyes are telling your brain that you're moving, but you're not really appearing to go anywhere, which is another reason why you can get dizzy. Or on a long sea voyage, your body can get so used to kind of like shifting around that when you go back onto dry land, your brain is used to having that like momentum. So when you're on dry land, you feel like you're still moving. That would be a weird sensation.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Is that what I've heard the term sea legs? And I think that generally means that when you're on the boat, you're, able to handle the wobble.
Yeah.
Is the sea legs mess you up on land? Do you have to get land legs again?
I think
that's
so.
a
For a
thing?
little bit, probably.
Okay.
And I'm sure it depends on how long you were actually on the water, too.
Yeah. Motion sickness is most common in children and pregnant women.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. About 1/3 of children ages 2 to 12 suffer from motion sickness, actually.
Wow.
And that's why Dramamine actually developed a formula for kids.
We gotta look into how that stops seasickness. That's very interesting.
I want to know why you grow out of motion sickness, or some people do. Oh, I'm also seeing that women are more likely to get motion sickness than men are because of estrogen, which can increase susceptibility to nausea, which is also why pregnancy can cause more motion sickness. Usually in the first trimester, there's a spike in estrogen, so that can get you feeling motion sickness pretty easily, I guess.
I'm trying to figure out how Dramamine works, and it's not really explaining anything. It's just like, oh, it reduces nausea and vomiting. And you're like, all right, I understand what it does. Why does it do that? Oh, weird. This is also something, the chemical component inside of Dramamine, if you take a large dose, can kind of give you this like almost subtle high. So a lot of people were taking a shit ton of Dramamine to make themselves feel like just a little out of this world. I'm so balanced right now. It feels ungodly.
Everything's in balance.
Shout out Rick and Morty. That's what they were doing. But no, it looks like,
I feel like that'd be good for a yoga session.
All right, everyone, take your Dramamine here. We're about to go into a nice hour-long hot yoga session. Oh, have you done the hot yoga yet from our Spice It
I
Up?
still haven't.
You got to try it out.
I know.
You got to take that Dramamine before, though.
There you go. I mean, it is warm in there. I might actually need it.
There you go.
I don't want to throw sweating everywhere and then throw up in the middle of it.
You'll be really dehydrated. You definitely got to drink some water before you do that, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So it looks like I finally found how it kind of works. It helps stop nausea by interfering with the chemical signals inside of the brain in between the synapses by suppressing the nerves in the brain and inner ear. So less of the chemical saying to get nauseous passes through, so you feel obviously less nauseous. Who the fuck figured that out? People were just taking like random drugs and stuff, and they're like, all right, go get on that boat for an hour. Tell me how you feel.
I mean, maybe. I'm sure someone who had bad nausea was like, I need to figure out a way to stop this.
Oh, God. I can imagine just living in a constant fear of nausea. That sounds terrible.
Something interesting here. A lot of people have more susceptibility to get motion sickness as the passenger of a vehicle instead of a driver. Which is good because a motion sick driver would be pretty scary.
Take the wheel, I'm vomiting.
Oh, jeez. That'd be terrifying, honestly.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a sneezing fit while driving? That is the scariest thing ever.
I haven't had it too bad. I think I've only had it when I was on an open road, not really
Okay.
near anybody.
Okay.
But I can
Still, on the
imagine
highway.
dense traffic or something.
Going like 80 miles an hour with someone close to you, and you're just like, and you're like trying to see it in between the sneezes. No fun. I'll tell you that much.
So continuing on that is because the driver actually has a better anticipation of what your sensory experience will be, because it knows, oh, I'm going to brake right now, or I'm going to turn a certain way. So your brain basically has a little preparation and gets to know what's going to happen, instead of that disconnect between your experience and what you're actually seeing, which happens more as a passenger.
Yeah, I bet you there's someone out there that gets motion sickness bad enough that they probably can't drive, right?
Oh, I bet, yeah.
That'd be rough. Why don't you drive? Oh, I get really sick. Well, they probably. I mean, if you still got it as a driver, probably being a passenger is almost like a guaranteed no-no then, right? Unless you're just gonna.
I mean,
take
you
the
probably
bomb.
wouldn't drive then. You just would choose not to, because you'd want to vomit every time.
What if you
it would
couldn't
just be
even
terrible.
bike? I can't even run. I just have to
What?
walk everywhere. I get too motion sick. If you're listening to this and you get motion sick like that, we're not making fun of you. I promise.
No, but please let us know
Yeah.
how you deal with that. Or
Write us in. We'll talk about it. I'm seeing here some interesting stories behind how Dramamine actually got discovered. We've talked about John Hopkins before, haven't we?
Yeah, it's a famous medical research
Yeah.
college.
Well, I don't know if it was him per se, but there was John Hopkins researchers were exceptionally prepared minds and accidentally led to a momentous discovery: the power of Dramamine to prevent and cure seasickness. They were working on this for preventing other. That's kind of how all medicines, I feel like, work.
Yeah.
They were using it to be able to try and work on something else, because it's an antihistamine. And so in 1947, there was a Baltimore woman who broke out in hives and went to the John Hopkins Allergy Clinic to see if doctors could help her. Ironically, the trip required her to take the trolley, which she absolutely hated, because every time she got on the trolley, she became nauseated when she rode around the streetcar or any sort of automobile. And she took the trolley, met with the allergist Leslie Gay, a 1917 graduate of John Hopkins Medical School, who actually was the one that founded the allergy clinic, which is pretty cool, in 1923. And Gay and his colleague Paul Carlinier were testing out the new antihistamine compound 1694, which was used for hay fever and other allergies. And when they gave her the pill, sent her home, and after a couple more visits, her hives eventually cleared up, and so did her motion sickness, which she mentioned on the way back to the allergy clinic, saying that her trolley rides became more enjoyable and free of nausea. And they wrote that down and specifically found people who became nauseated by trolley rides or other automobiles, and then started giving them compound 1694 and realized that basically stopped nausea, and that became Dramamine.
Wow. I still have never taken it. I need to try that sometime.
I don't know why. For some reason, I thought it was a liquid. I didn't think it was a pill.
I kind of thought it was too, but I have no idea why I thought that. That did remind me, though, some bus rides can get me motion sick as well. I don't know what it is.
I feel so sorry.
I know. It's not fun.
Did we answer as to why some get it and some don't?
I'm looking at it right now, and it's just the only explanation I keep seeing is that everyone's brain is wired a little bit differently, and some people are just better at processing motion than other people.
We're elite at processing motion.
Yeah.
All right. Some people are just better than others. What can I say?
It looks like it's usually runs in families.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, you said your pops deals with something like this.
Yeah.
I don't think my dad or mom have ever had issues with it. Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it. I actually really like this. So I'm just going to continue my story a little bit for the discussion of Dramamine, or discovery, not discussion. After one of the studies that they did to be able to prove that Dramamine helps with nausea is there was a army excursion where they needed to go on a 10-day sea voyage And so they decided to do an experiment on the soldiers that were on the ship. And they basically divided up the soldiers into two groups, like one group that would get Dramamine to prevent seasickness, and one to they waited until that group got seasick, and then they gave them a sugar pill placebo. And apparently the results were super impressive. Out of all 134 soldiers that were given Dramamine, not a single one got seasick. And then after the 123 men who got the placebo before the trip, out of that, 35 became seasick. Which, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, 35 out of 123 is not that bad, but a lot of them, probably aren't going to get seasick just due to, genetics and other things like that. Dang. And all but one who got seasick and then were given Dramamine were recovered.
Oh, wow.
That sucks. Imagine the one guy who didn't feel better, and then everyone's like,
Yeah,
I'm feeling
that's
great.
true.
And you're like, fuck off.
That's still very impressive, though.
I know. That's a solid study. And then on a return trip, instead of men, they had women, and it was pretty much identical results, actually. How exciting would that be? To be like discovering a new drug and then creating a study that you think you know what's going to happen, and then as soon as you like test it out, like your theory is basically
just
proven
kills
to
it.
be 100% correct. Like how that's got to be like top tier feelings of the human experience. Like you got to feel so good about that. Shout out to Leslie Gay and Paul Carliner. I don't know if I'm saying your names right. You're probably
True heroes.
You think they're alive? They'd be
Yeah.
old. They'd be real. I don't know. 1917 graduate of Johns Hopkins.
Oh, no, never mind.
Would be very old. They'd be almost like oldest person alive.
Well, and they'd be graduates too at that time. So
Yeah.
So definitely not. No.
Sad times.
Rest in
Shout out
peace.
to you guys though. Yeah. R.I.P. Oh, Leslie Gay lived for quite a while until 1949 at the age of 80, which I feel like was pretty old back then.
I am seeing that it is possible to train your body not to get motion sick. And that's kind of what NASA and the Department of Defense do, is they basically put people in situations to get them nauseated enough that you kind of train yourself out of it. But I'd also imagine people who volunteer to do those types of jobs have probably a more natural resistance to it. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how well that can be done with someone who has more serious effects.
I'm looking
But-
at oh, sorry, continue.
I was gonna say, but maybe I need to just start spinning around all the time, and I'll cure myself.
There you
Just
go.
Get one
I
of
know
those chairs and spin around it.
that I used to spin a shit ton as a child. Honestly,
Yeah,
that
you,
was what,
you built up an immunity.
yeah. I was just training, and I didn't even know. I was grinding hard.
You should be
as
an
a youngin'.
astronaut.
That'd be awesome. Let's do it. I wonder what education you need to become an astronaut. Probably a
Maybe
shit
not,
ton.
no. Yeah.
There are some natural remedies as well.
Yeah.
If you like ginger, you could chew on some raw ginger for a little while.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
And that's been a remedy to fight nausea. I eat a decent amount of ginger, and it also acts as a blood thinner as well.
Yeah,
Talk
I
to
had
your
a
doctor.
friend in the Navy. He said ginger snap cookies work as well for that.
Ooh. There's also those like ginger, like chewy candy type things too. Those are pretty good.
Oh yeah. I just would be careful with some of those because you never know if it actually has ginger in it or just
Yeah.
artificial ginger flavoring.
Look into what you're eating. That's pretty important. Eating peppermint is also thought to calm the body. It doesn't say anything about nausea, but maybe relaxing, keeping that blood pressure low, something. Acupuncture and acupressure says that potentially stimulating a certain point below the wrist helps ease with nausea. We've talked about that. We should do an acupuncture episode as well. And to spice it up. That'd be an interesting spice it up.
Oh,
I'm a
is
little
below
afraid.
the wrist at your hand or on your arm?
I would say arm for
Okay.
some reason. Yeah, I would say below the arm would be my assumption. We could look
Okay.
into it when we do our acupuncture spice
Okay.
up episode.
Are we gonna do it on each other? Just start
Oh
stabbing
God!
each other?
No.
with needles?
That'd be the ultimate spice it up, dude. Yeah, you guys tell me where to poke him next. What a live episode. I didn't even know this, but there's also other medication which makes sense to be able to help fight nausea. One being Maldemer. I don't know how to say that. That really hurt me coming out. And that's actually a little patch that you can put behind your ear, and you apply it about 4 hours before needed. Apparently, a dose lasts for an entire 3 days. So, which Dramamine, you need to redose it up about every 4 to 6 hours. So, who knows? Maybe you patch it.
Become invincible.
Ooh. I never get sick. I got 4 patches on right now. That's my secret. That's why I don't get motion sick. I always got that patch on deck. What can I say? All right. Anything else, my good friend?
I'm looking up vertigo right now.
Oh, I forgot about that. Vertigo. I was also I wanted to give you guys just a little bit more of a description. So I was curious as to the fluid that's inside your ear, how the hell that tells your brain where you're moving. And apparently inside your ear canal, there's tiny hair-like sensors that as the fluid like kind of like moves around inside of those canals, the fluid hits that hair-like sensor, and that's what's telling your brain what position that your head is facing. Pretty crazy stuff. Isn't your body just magical? I swear to God, I look at just more and more things, and it just blows my mind. I saw a video recently of like cells replicating and becoming a fish, but they had it underneath a microscope. So you got to watch the actual like sped up process of like a fish being generated from 2 cells, and it's a crazy process. The just any sort of body blows your mind. How many things have to be working in order for everything to fully function? It's absurd. What a world.
Yeah. So vertigo is basically the sensation of feeling off balance and having dizzy spells, and this is caused by basically a number of different inner ear problems, which can be either calcium particles dislodge and then collect in your inner ear, and then your brain sends signals. Basically it blocks some of the signals that it's normally sending, so it just kind of makes you feel off balance and therefore feel the nausea. There's a couple other diseases and things that can happen as well, such as a buildup of fluid and change in pressure in the ear can cause episodes of that. And then some infections can also cause vertigo just because of inflaming in the inner ear. And
infections are no fun.
No, they aren't. I had an ear infection
are the worst.
Before, and it was terrible.
Ugh.
But it basically just causes you to feel like you're either spinning or swaying, just kind of off balance or anything like that. And for the most part, it can just go away by itself, but sometimes you actually do have to have some sort of physical therapy to help with getting your body back in balance, which is pretty crazy, honestly.
You said something that just reminded me of another thing. We could do it on a different episode, but when you drink a lot and you get the spins, does alcohol affect your inner ear at all?
I was wondering that same thing, honestly, because when you asked when I felt it, I wasn't sure if I should include that or not. Because I feel like I definitely get that a lot more so than you, and I wonder if that is actually related too.
I don't know. Or do you think the alcohol affects your vision? And so it's kind of the same thing, is like your vision's stunted, and so it's moving at a slightly different tempo than what your ear canals are registering, and that's what causes the spins. We're looking it up.
Yeah, we're going to find out.
Holy fuck, we were right. Well, kind of, not really. So I was...
You went from completely being right to not really at all.
Well,
change.
The alcohol is what we were correct on. Affecting your eyes was what we were wrong on. Mm-hmm. So I was looking up while you were explaining that last piece about vertigo, what the fluid was, because I thought it was weird that they just kept saying fluid. For some reason, I was thinking it was solid H2O, but it's actually just this juice called endolymph. Endolymph? That's my guess. Educated guess. Endolymph. And that just means inner fluid, I guess. But what happens is when alcohol enters the bloodstream, it slowly diffuses into the endolymph, which is that shit that's inside your ear, the fluid, and it makes it more dense. So little blobs of jelly begin to float, and this stimulates the Vilth cranial nerve, which gives you the impression that the room is spinning around you. That's insane. Wow. So I wonder if there's a way you can... If you take Dramamine before you drink, would that diffuse the option of getting
the spins? I don't trust taking medications and drinking, though. That usually doesn't end up...
Would you Google that real quick? If you mix Dramamine and alcohol, what happens? I'm reading a little bit more into this jelly shit. Yeah, eventually, after a handful of hours, the alcohol begins to diffuse and leave the endolymph, so the blob of jelly becomes less dense. And, oh, God, And since it's getting less dense, you get the impression of the room spinning in the opposite direction instead. I thought it was just going to go away. No, you get it the other way. So you could go to sleep with the room spinning one way and wake up with it spinning the other direction, which I feel like actually kind of makes sense. I remember a time I got the spins and I had to go lay down. I will say that when I woke up, I was definitely like hungover, and I definitely felt that weird rotation to the other side.
So you are not supposed to mix them. They basically, both of them, alcohol and Dramamine, can cause drowsy, dizziness, which is weird because it's supposed to treat dizziness, but and impair coordination. So combined, they can actually have a stronger effect, and there's actually a risk of having a Dramamine overdose, which can have side effects of hallucinations, difficulty breathing, seizures, irregular heartbeat, and coma. So
all right. So definitely do not do that. And hopefully don't drink to the point where you get the spins. Work on that. Drink water. Drink water with your alcoholic beverages, and you'll be golden.
Have you ever felt any motion sickness on a roller coaster or even any of those rides where you just kind of spin around, or no?
No, I've never had that.
Not at all?
My God. I do have a hilarious story, though.
Oh, okay.
No, but I don't think I've ever. I mean, of course, I've gotten dizzy, but I've never gotten like dizzy to the point of sickness.
So you don't ever feel like you're gonna throw up if you get dizzy? You just feel off balance?
Yeah, for the most part, I've never.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, the only time I've ever gotten nauseous to the point I'm gonna throw up is either like it's mainly stomach issues for me. Like if my tummy hurts, I want to vomit. That's about that. I don't think I've ever gotten to the point where I've gotten dizzy enough that I have thrown up, honestly. Unless maybe with alcohol. Then I get the spins, which I also rarely throw up when I drink as well. So the funny story that I have is going to bring us back all the way to WannaFest. This is a story of, God, I don't know. I must have been 11 or 12 years old. And what WannaFest is, for those of you who don't come from Wanakee, Wisconsin, is a little festival that the town Patrick and I grew up in puts on. And then this tiny little carnival comes in, and they've got, I don't know, what would you say, like 12 to 15 rides max?
Yeah.
Something small. And one of those is made for children. And it's this like little monkey system where there's 4 monkeys you get on. They're all attached to these bars, and they kind of like spin in a slow circle. But you can get inside of your monkey, and there's this table in the middle that you grab onto. And if you all spin it in one direction, your monkey is going to rotate in that direction. So we had the brilliant idea. I was with a group of Patrick. Were you there?
No, I was not.
I didn't think so. I've
heard about this story multiple times, though.
Yes. I was with a buddy named Alex Page and a couple others that I do not remember. Shout out, Alex. If you're listening to the podcast, and we know you are, you're going to love this story. And we were about to get on, and everyone decided they were like, oh, yeah, I'm so hungry. I need to eat right now. Alex Page in particular, I believe, ate 2 hot dogs and drank like a Gatorade and a half, which is a lot for a young kiddo. And we get on to the monkey ride, and one of my favorite things to do, because I don't experience motion sickness probably, is I like to spin at the 100% maximum speed. Get as dizzy as possible, and that's what I live for. Right as the ride is about to start, the carnival worker comes up and he's like, hey guys, there's no more room in all the other ones, and this little fella wants to join you. And he shows probably a 4-year-old child or 5-year-old. Like, it's a young kid. And I told him specifically, I was like, I want you to know, we're going to try and see how fast this can go. Are you okay with that? And he was like, yeah, I love going fast. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I triple checked, making sure he was satisfied. And he was like, yeah. And so I was like, all right, well, they're doing it. So this kiddo jumps in the monkey with us, and we go off, and we're pulling as hard as we can. It's basically to the point that the force of us spinning around is kind of like throwing us back against the wall. And it gets to the point where I'm the only one that's able to still maintain and like hold on to the table. Everyone else is basically like pushed up against the wall. And some of the guys are like, we got to slow down. I'm not feeling good. And I was like, no. We got to keep going. We're all crying, laughing.
Of course.
And Alex Page leans forward, out of all places to throw up, decides to throw up on the rotating table in front of us. He vomits everything he just ate, and since it's a rotating, spinning table, it's got enough force that it starts flinging
everywhere.
vomit 360 degrees. Every person in there that also just ate a shit ton of hot dogs and Gatorade just starts puking. And for some reason, we all simultaneously decided just to start vomiting on the rotating table, not the ground, not in our lap. Nope, right on the table, so it flings over everybody. And like I said, I don't really get motion sick, but one thing that really makes me sick is the smell of vomit, which is something I'm curious about. We should do an episode on that as well, is why if we smell vomit, we want to vomit. It was a very triggering thing for me as a kid. If I smelled vomit, I was almost guaranteed to vomit, and that's exactly what happened. So I puke, and now we have like 4 teenager vomits on a table spinning around. I look over at the child, and the child is freaking out. There's vomit all over the place. He's damn near crying. I'm trying to comfort him while everyone is continually, all I hear is just gagging to the side. The ride stops. The kid runs out of the monkey, dude. He falls over on the ground. His parents are like, what the fuck? And my kid's covered in vomit. Somehow, majority of the vomit fell on Alex Page's lap. I don't know how. Every time the big chunk of it fell off the table, it hit Alex. So he was covered head to toe. Everyone else had some on us. And they had to shut down the ride for the rest of the day. So,
yeah, I was wondering if that happens a lot and they just have like a pressure washer that they go on. All right, another one.
Oh, God. What a story. I'll never forget that to this day. What a story. Good times. So if you really want to test to see if you get motion sick, I'd highly recommend go to a small carnival and find that monkey spinning ride and go on it.
The only time I've actually thrown up on a ride was also at WannaFest.
Was that with me on the egg roll?
No. There was one that basically it goes up and you're in like a ski lift chair, and then it spins around the whole.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The whole ride, and then it also spins the chair
on itself
as well. And me getting motion sickness thought, this is a great ride for me to try out. I was pretty young, and I go over to my dad. I'm like, oh, can I please try this ride? And he's like, are you sure? Because he knew, even like driving around in the car, sometimes I got motion sickness. Oh, he's like, are you sure? And then it's like, yeah, I really want to do it. I can handle it.
Fuck yeah.
And so I go on there. I'm sitting there next to 3 random people that are all like grown adults, and I'm like maybe like a 8-year-old kid.
You are
max.
The little kid.
Yeah, I am that little kid. And we go up, and then we start spinning it, and instantly I was just like, oh no, this was a mistake. And so then I'm just kind of sitting there just using all my force to just try not to vomit, like closing my eyes, that didn't help, opening my eyes, nothing helped, staring at a point. And so I just lean over the side. Thankfully, I was on the side and not in the middle, and just vomit everywhere. And it just kind of like goes in like a little like spinning, arcing shape. And the people next to me were like, what the heck's going on?
That's like the polar opposite of my story. Everyone but the kid, and you were just the kid.
It didn't get on to anybody, thankfully. But yeah, that was the last time I rode that ride for sure.
That's awesome. Do you go on roller coasters now, though? Are you not as affected?
No, I have to take breaks between them. Like, and that's what helps with a lot of them is there's usually long lines. But with the fast passes we had, there were a couple of times where I was kind of getting a little motion sick. And so I was just kind of like, maybe we should go to another one or do something else and just wait for a little bit.
Just pause.
Because back to back to back, that's when it kind of gets me more. Like I'll kind of feel it a little bit, but it's not to the point where I can tell that I might throw up. It's like, I'm uncomfortable and like it just doesn't feel that good. But
I gotcha. And it does affect children more, so maybe you're just outgrowing it a little bit as well. So
yeah.
Woo. All right, y'all. You got some fun little stories. Like I said before, if you guys have any fun stories as well about motion sickness, write us in, email us in. We'll post a little reaction video for you. Also, check this out on YouTube. That way you can see us laughing, giggling beside you. That's been What's Going On. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you have a lovely day.